Hey guys, we're back, and this episode, the first thing we're going to be doing is getting quite a bit of experience for ourselves, because if you know where to go, you can get a lot of easy experience in this game. So the first thing we're going to do is going to make us stop off at High Hedge. The reason for this is we can pick up the potion case. We can also pick up some scrolls that we may need later on, and just learn them now. We're also going to pick up a potion of freedom because we are going to use that in order to avoid a trap coming up.
Hello, pal.
It's done. Why do I live in such a pissant town? Why do I live in such a pissant town? Yeah, I'll see to it. Hope this is worth it. It's done.
After travelling to this lighthouse area, after we kill a few hobgoblins to begin with, we're going to use the potion of clarity that we picked up in Candlekeep. You do need, I believe, over 18 strength in order to be able to bash open the lock for it, or be able to pick it if you're a thief. So everyone might not potentially have access to this, but it lasts 2 hours, I believe, and it will prevent you from being charmed. Now, our save versus spell is quite good, but at the same time there's 6 sirens throughout this area that will try and charm you several times. And the reason we're going for them early on is they each drop 2,000 experience each, and you can kill them quite easily if you're able to go into melee with them. I would suggest staying close to the group because they do have a ranged attack that can poison, I believe. So you don't want to deal with that at all. And also, they do almost no damage when they're using their melee attack as well. Also, I apologize for the most annoying sound in this game. But yeah, as you can notice, we are also going to be picking up the arrows that they drop. But otherwise, this is pretty much free experience for us. So we do hit level 3 with Fighter here, and we get our proficiency. This one I decided to put into a third point of 2 weapon style. It's not the greatest thing to put points into because it only does give you a +2 bonus to your offhand weapon, but it is going to help me immediately, and it also, as a multi-class, we can't put more than 2 proficiency points into any weapon, so we are pretty much going to be covered in terms of a very few weapon types. I don't know why, but Syl is actually a lot easier than the other two sirens she's with. I'm not really sure why. Or at least it seems like it. So we finish off these 3 sirens, and then we're going to take the Potion of Freedom. The reason for that is there is a trap in this cave here that will put you in a hold state, and then one of the enemies that is very close to it will probably just come over and kill you. So it is save versus spell, I believe, but just to make absolutely sure that that we make our save, may as well become immune to it. The enemies in here are flesh golems. They cannot be hit by non-magical attacks, it looks like. So that's the reason we're using the arrows that we picked up. And you'll notice I went up and hit the other trap while we had the Potion of Clarity still. The reason for that is that it is a charm trap. So I may as well take care of the trap as I'm trying to kill this guy here. I end up kiting him outside a little bit. The reason that I don't want to get into melee at all with him is he's got a really high Thaco in order to hit me. So you don't want to get anywhere close to me. I think he's hitting me on like a 2 or 3. So he is very tough. And like I said, you can only hit him with magical weapons. So these arrows that I picked up are going to do work. They are very dumb though, because if you lead them around corners, they will pretty much forget where you are. But you pretty much don't want these guys anywhere near you. If you're having difficulties with this, then part of the reason I'm coming to this cave is there is a wand that you can get as gear just lying around. You can invisible in here, use invisibility, and then you can just invisibility out, and you should have no problems with that. But as you can see, I'm leading him around the corner here, and he's just wandering off like, all the way back. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to head down here and do a quick quest before we leave this area. It does give you a reputation point, so it is useful just for getting a little bit higher reputation for vendor discounts, but it's just to kill the 3 wargs in here. And then we're going to start heading back to High Hedge, but since we have a few more levels, I'm going to make a stop somewhere and pick up a few more quests before I head back there.
Friend.
This is worth it.
First thing we're going to do here is Basilisk. So I do once again put the conversation options in order to kill the rest of his skeletons and zombies, but it doesn't seem to work. I'm not sure why not. Anyway, this is when we're actually using the Wand of Lightning finally. Basically what I do is I just constantly peep out from behind the corner and then just hit him, and it should hit him on the way back as well. He is quite dangerous because he will cast things like Hold Person, which can be very nasty, but as you can see, he does get pretty destroyed with the lightning wand. If you line it up correctly, it can be really useful, but you're also likely to just hit yourself with it as well. So I decided not to kill the rest of the skeletons here. I just pick up his symbol and his warhammer. His symbol can be turned in for 5,000 gold at the temple at Beregost, which is nice. It's some early gold for you. Although we won't generally need to go out our way for gold too much, I do want to buy some stuff that is quite expensive, including scrolls as well to learn them.
I hope this is worth it. It's done. Why do I live in such a pissant town? Why do I live in such a pissant town? Why do I live in such a pissant town?
To free Melicamp, we need a skull from one of the skeletons outside. Usually they spawn quite regularly, so it's not too much of a problem to find one. But one thing that you should do before turning this quest in is make sure that you save, or quick save, because there's a 50%, well at least I think it's a 50% chance that you will get no reward for the quest. Otherwise you get 2,000 experience and a reputation point. So that cut there will be me reloading the save because it didn't go off the first time. And there we go. So you may need to reload for that to get the actual reward for the quest.
Yeah, I'll see to it.
Next area we're going to is completely unnecessary, but I'm going to pick up something that we can because of the enhanced edition. I think this was only added as an option in the 2.5 version of the enhanced edition as well, so fairly recently. But this Shoal the Nerid over here, she will reduce you to 1 HP now instead of she would just kill you outright before. I actually avoided her attack because it looks as though you do get a save, but the main purpose for this is, well, first of all my weapon broke again. We're going to kill Droth here because he drops a fairly good helmet that we can wear, and it's probably the only one that we're going to get for a while anyway. I just put it on immediately. And killing Shoal here will give you 5,000 experience, so why not? She's also fairly easy to kill. Previously, because you were playing solo, she would just charm you and you would die immediately, so that was a recent change, but the helmet that Droth drops is fairly unnecessary. And you saw the power of the Wand of Paralyzation there, because it's a wand that will paralyze someone for 10 rounds if they fail their save, and the save is made with a -4 penalty as well. So it's pretty good. It's pretty OP, honestly, and we're going to use it quite a bit. So that's the thing about fighter mages, is They can cast wands or use wands in plate, which is just ridiculous, really. And I clear up a few other quests in this area just because I can. One is to get the cursed ring back to Arcand, and the next one is if you just talk to the surgeon and ask who he is, he'll give you a potion. Quite a useful potion as well.
It's done. It's done. Why do I live in such a pissant town? Yeah, I'll see to it. I hope this is worth it. Why do I live in such a pissant town?
So we can see that the helmet is giving us +1 to saving throws and 20% to cold, fire and lightning resistance as well. So our save versus spell is all the way down to 5 now, which is pretty good for this point in the game, I would say. The last thing we're going to do here is kill the gnolls over here, because they'll drop a short sword that you can hand in for 500 experience and Beregost, which we may as well end up doing because it's just right outside High Hedge.
It's done.
You may have noticed that we picked up the Constitution tome earlier. I'm going to try and get all the tomes in the game, even the ones that aren't going to be very useful to us, just because they do give a permanent stat boost. But one of the reasons I'm pretty much fighting this guy, who is fairly tough with his armor, is because I can just regenerate the health as I'm leaving the area anyway. Because when you get to 20 Constitution, you'll regenerate health, and if you're leaving an area, it takes 8 hours or 4 hours or however long it takes in order to get to the other area, and you should have regenerated pretty much all your health by that time. So that's the reason I pick up the buckler, and I do equip it now, because I did take some damage.
Queer things have been afoot lately. Queer things have been afoot lately.
Yeah, I'll see to it. It's done.
And handing in the very, very easy 5,000 gold to the temple here that I mentioned before.
This is worth it.
And that's pretty much going to wrap it up for now.
It's done.